So, Sri, obviously this is pretty dramatic moves from Goldman. Is this a break with tradition for the bank?
Well, you have to look at the backdrop right now. Over the last 2 years, especially through the pandemic, we have seen this escalating frenzy of musical chairs on Wall Street. And Goldman CEO David Solomon, much like other bank bosses, has been frustrated by that. They've all done the natural, obvious first thing, which is pay more money, boost compensation, absolutely increase bonus limits to an extent where you think that your staff will want to stay on. But there's also sort of this ugly side to it, where they're sending a message to those who have left that if you do leave, we will enforce our contracts to the strictest interpretation possible. That means pulling your deferred pay. Previously, that only happened if you went to a rival bank. Now we'll do it even if you're going to a buy-side firm that would be a client. But more interestingly, they're going after the vested pay of some of the executives. That is truly unprecedented, especially when it's all about leaving for another job, not criminal misconduct.
I think that's a great point. This is usually reserved for something very different than it is now. Have we seen, or should we expect pushback from former employees who maybe hold up their contract and say, look, is this really allowed?
This is still very much early days. Based on our reporting, all this has panned out in the last few weeks. And it'll be interesting to see how the Goldman diaspora reacts to it. But equally important is, what is the message that senior executives inside the firm take right now? It doesn't even have to be senior. You could be a managing director. You could be a VP looking to go elsewhere. If this is the message that the CEO wants to send, it certainly is going to make a lot of these people think twice before wanting to consider another career outside Goldman Sachs.
So it's obviously why Goldman would want to keep their high-level people inside the house. But there is, in some ways, historically a benefit of someone going to, say, a client and then being able to return business back to Goldman Sachs. Does this risk backfiring in that it may disrupt those relationships?
That is definitely a point that has been raised by a number of people we've had discussions with, because when these people leave Goldman Sachs and become a part of their alumni network, they're all leaving for a lucrative second career where they will turn to Goldman for advice, for deals, for trades. It's a connective tissue for a lifetime of shared riches. Now, these trained exits does put a spotlight on that, on whether that will affect Goldman Sachs. Maybe the calculation being made here is, the message to the staff is way more important than a few missed deals and a few annoyed clients here and there.
Sri, how much does this differ from other Wall Street banks in their ability to convince employees to stay within the firm?
Look, Goldman Sachs is the absolute incredible brand when it comes to Wall Street. When you think of a banking powerhouse, when you talk about a Wall Street titan, the first name that comes to mind is Goldman Sachs. And often what they do is mimicked by others. Now it'll be interesting to see if the likes of Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan and James Gorman at Morgan Stanley and elsewhere want to take a leaf out of David Solomon's playbook and send the same message to staff, or actually use it as an opportunity to present a kinder, gentler side of theirs to people who may want to come over to their shores.